people will always find something wrong with what you're doing. And so my encouragement to you is don't worry about all the criticism out there. And welcome back to the Case by Case Training Podcast. This is episode 9 of the podcast. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at 3 tips for using MyFitnessPal to hit your calorie goals. And I'm going to, along the way, be showing you what I've been doing in using MyFitnessPal. A couple episodes ago, I mentioned that I'm going to start losing weight myself and kind of take you along the journey so that you can see the things I'm doing and implement some of the things if you would like. You don't have to implement everything that I do exactly. Certainly, I mentioned that you need to not, copy my calories and those types of things or my exact calorie needs. Ultimately, everybody's going to be unique in what calories they need to hit. And so I do talk about that in previous episodes, showing you how to hit those calories and how to also figure out your calorie goal. And we even went through how to use MyFitnessPal and to manually put in the calorie goals that you need to hit. So today's episode is going to be a little bit more inside of MyFitnessPal and looking at some tips for using MyFitnessPal to hit your calories and some things that you can do along the way. And so I'm just going to kind of take you through what I've been doing, what works for me. I've been doing this a long time, obviously, and so I kind of know what works for my body and me personally, but it's kind of the same process as far as figuring it out for each person. So whenever I have a client, I kind of go through the same process with them as I do for myself. Yes, the exact steps might look different. What works for them might be a little different, but it's really just trial and error and being patient and kind of seeing what happens and taking note and then making adjustments as needed. And so I'm going to kind of show you how that works and how I do it and how you can do it as well. Now, the 3 tips, I'll just say them right off the bat, are using my foods, my recipes, and my meals within MyFitnessPal. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier for tracking your calories. And so we will look at that and how each of those functions work within MyFitnessPal. And then the second thing is to be prepared ahead of time. Being prepared is going to make a big difference in successfully hitting your calories and not overeating or potentially ending the day hitting your calories but feeling extremely hungry because you didn't get enough nutritious filling foods in your day. And so we're going to look at that as well. And then the third tip is to not stress about being perfect. And we're going to look at exactly what I mean by that. But it is what it sounds like, that you're taking steps in the right direction. The point is to be making small changes that are going to add up over time and ultimately set you up for a lifestyle that you can maintain and stick with for long term. And so the goal is not, a 30-day fix, a 30-day transformation. We're not looking at even necessarily a weight goal. It's good to have that weight goal in mind, but it's got to go beyond that. We need to be thinking about, okay, I want to just live life and be able to get to a point where the way I live my life is a healthy way and I can continue to just live, not having to diet all the time necessarily, but actually changing the way I approach food and view it, and can do something that long term, maybe it's not constantly losing weight, but just maintaining, even getting to that weight goal that you have over time in a healthy way, in a way that you can actually achieve it, and then staying there, not bouncing back and putting all the weight back on. And so that is what we're going to look at, and how not being stressed about being perfect all the time and perfectly doing everything is going to help you to have a better relationship with the process, and it's going to ultimately set you up for long-term success, which is what we want. So I will bring up MyFitnessPal in a second here, but just to kind of recap a couple episodes, I mentioned that my calorie goal that I had set for myself was 2,330 calories, and that was intended to help me lose about half a pound a week, give or take, not exacts necessarily, but that was kind of the number that I came up with that hopefully was going to help me lose that much weight. And I showed you the process of how I got there and how you can do that for yourself. and how to figure out how much weight you want to lose based on the calorie goal that you set. And so that was my starting point. My starting weight was 199.6. I stepped on the scale and showed you that as well. And so I started that on February 15th to begin my weight loss journey. And my goal is to lose about 20 pounds or so, maybe 15 to 20 pounds. And over several weeks, really over a few months. So I'm not trying to rush the process because, as I mentioned, my goal before was to put on some muscle, which I did, and now I want to keep that muscle. So I'm not trying to cut down super fast. I want to keep my muscle, and so I'm trying to do a slow cut, and I'm not in a rush for any reason. So good news, I have lost weight. I will go through my diary and MyFitnessPal to show you the things I've been eating and how all that's worked out. I'm exercising usually about 3 to 4 times a week, just lifting weights. I don't have some specific workout program that's like a weight loss program. I'm just walking on the treadmill. I'm not doing intense cardio. I'm usually walking on the treadmill for maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm doing weight training and just trying to hit everything. And really, I'm also doing that to stimulate the muscles so that, again, I don't lose muscle as I'm cutting down weight. So I want to be losing fat specifically. So I'm not doing intense cardio. I'm just doing walking, and then I'm lifting weights. And that's personally what I am choosing to do. You could do it differently. My recommendation when it comes to exercise is to just make sure you're getting it in. That's the most important thing, is that you're moving, you're being active. If you enjoy certain type of exercise more than other exercise, that's what you should do. And you ultimately want to just do something that you can stick with and will work for you. Now, yes, adding in weights is always a good thing if you can. If it's something you can do safely and you enjoy and you know how to do, weight training is good because it's going to, again, help you put on muscle as well. And it is also helpful in burning fat. And so any kind of activity, though, whether it's you like doing cardio, you like running, you like doing high intensity interval training, you like whatever it is, you like boxing, you like dancing, it doesn't really matter too much. Yes, some stuff is going to be better at increasing your metabolism than others. Some stuff is going to be better at burning more calories in the same time frame. Some stuff is going to be better at building muscle. Everything's going to have a little bit different effect on what it is best at and what it does. But the important thing is that you're getting moving, you're being active, and again, thinking about long-term things that you can do and enjoy and sustain. And so take all that into consideration. And we'll get more into the exercise side of things. I will talk about that in later episodes. For now, though, the point is that, I'm exercising 3 to 4 times a week. I'm not exercising every single day. I'm not doing 6 times a week. It's 3 to 4 times a week, and I'm not doing intense cardio of any sort. And in week 1, I stepped on the scale and I lost 2.8 pounds. So I was down to 196.8 after the first week. Now, it's averages. I've mentioned this in other episodes. You got to give it time to average out. Sometimes you might lose a lot of weight right off the bat. You might lose more than you expect. You might not lose any weight in week 1. Maybe you gain weight sometimes. This can happen too. And you go, what's going on? Right off the bat, when you make a lot of changes, adding an activity that you weren't doing before, you have to understand that there's a lot of different factors. This is not just I lost 2.8 pounds of fat. Not necessarily. There's water weight. There's other things. My sodium's probably changed because I changed my diet. So there's things that are going to adjust, and you have to realize, okay, we got to give this some time. So 2.8 pounds, that was after week 1. At week 2, I lost another 2.8 pounds. So I was down to 194 by this point. Now at that point, I'm going, okay, that's, 2 weeks consistent, probably a little more aggressive than I want. But again, I'm not rushing this. You got to be patient. Don't panic if you're not seeing the results you want. Now, this is probably the results most people would want when they're losing weight. And so you'd probably be happy with 2.8 pounds a week. For me, it wasn't actually what I was going for. I'm trying to be a little less aggressive, obviously, as I've mentioned. So I'm still not going to panic, though. I'm going to give it some time. So I stayed at the same calories for another week just to see. And again, what this shows you is it may not be perfect. The calorie number that I helped you figure out and showed you how to do, it may not be perfect right off the bat. And again, that's okay. don't panic. It doesn't mean calorie tracking doesn't work. That's where a lot of people, they jump to these conclusions that, well, calorie tracking didn't work for me. Well, did you make adjustments? Did you give it enough time to see what you needed to change? And then did you make those changes? Okay, so week 3, I lost another 2.2 pounds. So at this point, I'm going, okay, I'm down to 191.8. That's great. And, 7.8 pounds total for 3 weeks. And so I did decide to make some changes at this point. And I'll go through those and show you exactly what I did. And my next weigh-in is coming up. And so we'll see what changes and what the results are. So, but at this point, I've lost 7.8 pounds in 3 weeks. I'm not complaining about that. That's about 2.6 pounds per week on average. And I'll just take you into MyFitnessPal to show you exactly what I'm doing, how I got there, and that it works. Again, the point of this is I'm trying to show you that this process does work. I'm working out 3 times, 4 times some weeks, and about an hour workout, and I am eating foods that I want to eat ultimately and just hitting my calories. So let me take you in and show you MyFitnessPal now, and then we will go through my diary, look at that, and then we'll go through the 3 tips as well as we go through. All right, so we're going to go back to March 1st in my diary, and I'm going to go through kind of each step. I'm not going to cover every single day, every single thing, but we're going to kind of look mostly at the totals. We will look a little bit at the items I'm eating, but again, I'm not focused on that. I'm not saying like, oh, look at this magic food. Look at what I lost in 3 weeks because of these particular foods, these superfoods that I'm eating. No, that's not the point. The point is hit your calories. And again, yes, if you're not eating healthy foods, you're going to lack certain nutrients, and that's not going to be good either. But for weight loss, hit your calories, you lose the weight, and that's what I'm trying to show you here. So we will look at some of the breakdown, but I want to go back to March 1st. We won't go all the way back, but March 1st was my 3rd weigh-in. That was when I was down to the 194 at that point. And so I had lost already over 4 pounds. And my calories at this point still were 2,330 per day. Now, what I want to show you, so yes, I had omelet, so I'm getting some eggs, some vegetables and stuff in there. The milk, every time you see the milk, you're going to see that every day. That is in my coffees. Sometimes I will have a second cup of coffee with milk once again, and sometimes I don't have the milk the second time because it is 130 calories for 1 cup of milk. So that will add up. Protein powder, you'll probably see that almost every day. A scoop of protein powder. Fit Crunch protein bar, or sometimes I had the clean protein bars. I'll link both of those below if there's something you want to look into. Again, nothing magic about them. I just have them to add in a little extra protein into my diet, which my protein was set to 144 as my goal, 146 as my goal at this point, but it is going to change as you'll see. And just to show you, this day we went to Longhorns. So what I did, I knew we were going to go to Longhorns this evening. And so what I did was I figured out what I was eating for the rest of my day. And that's why for my lunch, you'll notice I only had a protein bar. To me, it was worth it to be able to eat what I wanted at dinner when we ate out. And, it's one day. I know I'm not starving because I'm hitting the calories that I need to hit at the end of the day. And so it's okay to feel a little bit hungry sometimes. It really is. I know it's, sometimes we struggle with that. It's like, I don't know if I could skip a meal. A lot of people don't have a problem skipping a meal though. A lot of people do skip meals and they end up snacking a lot though, is where they get in trouble. So, but anyways, so I kind of skipped a meal. I just had this protein bar for lunch, and then I got French onion soup. I got spicy chicken bites, which are amazing, by the way, if you haven't had them. And then I counted in the ranch dressing with my spicy chicken bites. I didn't eat any of the bread that they give you because I just knew it was not going to fit into the calories that day. So I put all that stuff in, got the calories, and then at the end of the day, still had room for a little bit more, and I decided to go with something that was going to fill me more so than something snacky that was just going to use up the last calories, because I was, still a little bit hungry, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to eat something that I can get a little full on. So I ate a whole bell pepper raw. That's how I prefer them anyway. So that was March 1st. So going ahead, I hit my calories pretty good that day. I'm not worried about the 2 calorie, leftover or whatever. The next day, I don't know what happened here, but I don't know. I had 507 calories left, so I just didn't really eat a ton that day. March 3rd, I had another 268 calories left. Now look at the amount of food I ate. This is all kind of parts of my salad here, but still, this is a decent amount of food that I had on this day. And what this should show you is that you can really eat quite a bit when you are eating things that are a little more filling. So I ended this day with 268 calories left. And like I said, the day before I ended with 507 left. So if you're adding that up, it's adding up quite a bit. And remember, from the last video, when I mentioned 5 tips, one of the tips was averaging your calories out. Figure it out for the week. You don't have to hit them perfectly each day. So you can store up calories. If you don't eat all your calories in one day, you have extra calories for the next day or for the week, however you want to do it. Same thing if you overeat one day. You can still make it up by eating a little less the next day. So then the 3 days in a row where I had extra calories. So again, this will impact the weight loss too. I was in a bigger deficit than I needed to be. But you will see I'm going to make up some of that coming up. So 39 calories over on this day, March 4th. And so here, boom, I was like, I've been storing up some calories. I got some extra. I'm going to go a little bit harder on my meal tonight and have some extra food. And I was honestly, I will admit too, the days leading up to this, I was starting to feel a little like I'm lacking a little energy. I could tell I wasn't getting enough calories. So I added in some extras. I had a really big dinner that night, as you can see. Looks like I had a salad here. Oh no, so I had a salad, and then I had chicken rice bowl, and then I also had a whole serving, 12 ounces of chicken pot pie as well. So I really, really loaded up on the dinner that night to make up some of those calories. And it was a really filling meal, and it was great, and I loved it. And it also really energized me the next day. So I was feeling much better. And then I did it again. I was like, you know what? I still got more calories. So I made up some more calories that day. And you'll see here, one of the things that I decided to have was some cookie cake. And that was a little dessert that I had that night. So I made up some of those calories that I was a little bit under on before, and then I did hit under again the next day. So it's a back and forth. I'm not hitting it perfectly, but then you average it all out and it's going to be pretty close. Went over a little bit there. All right, now I wanted to talk about this because at this point, March 7th, my goal was still the 2330. Now on March 8th, that's when I did my next weigh-in, and I was 191 pounds, and I realized, okay, it's time to make a little change here because I'm losing a little more weight than I wanted. And granted, my calories, I was a little low on some of those days, so that could have been part of it. It didn't have time to quite balance out yet, but either way, I was losing more than I needed to at this point. So for me, I upped the calories by 250 calories a day. So my new goal was 2580, gives me some extra calories to where I can eat more. I can eat more things that I also enjoy if I want, and it's going to make it a little easier to lose weight. Additionally, I'm going to be closer to obviously the weight goal that I want to hit for my weekly weight loss. So that for me was a win. I got to up my calories, and it really did also help with, again, my energy levels, making sure that I'm getting enough. So it's not just about losing weight and being in a huge calorie deficit. If you can be in less of a deficit and still lose weight, yeah, you're not going to lose as much weight, but we want to be losing weight in a healthy range. If you're losing more than 2 pounds per week, you're getting to a point where you're probably lacking nutrients, you're probably lacking energy, and it's gonna catch up to you. And it really already was for me. I was feeling it. And so making just this simple change, adding in these extra calories, really made a difference, and I've felt way more energized, and I'm sure my weight has probably adjusted as well as far as my weight loss per week. So we'll see. My next weigh-in is coming up. I haven't done it yet, so I think it's the 15th is the next one that I'm going to check, and we'll see how things balanced out. And I'm going to keep keeping track, and we'll go from there. So March 8th, with my increased calories, we ended up having Chipotle that night. Now March 9th, you'll see that I really made some use of these calories in the evening. So I had my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, a lot of different things here going on. But then in the evening, I still had 840 calories. Well, not quite 840 because I went a little over here, but I had about 800 calories left, and I was going to use them. So I had I had a protein bar because I still was a little under on my protein. Also, my protein goal increased to 161 per day. So that went up a little bit. I had some jerky. I had a banana with some peanut butter on it. And I had a cup and a half of milk. So again, that is one of the beauties of tracking your calories is you can hit the calories, you can eat the things you decide to eat, and still lose the weight. So now the next day, once again, I had some snack in the evening here. Pretty much almost every day, I had enough calories by the end of the day, feeling full, got good food in, got good nutrients, hit my protein, and was able to still have a little bit of a splurge. This day I was a little under my protein, but I was a little over on the day before. So again, it was close, and that's what I'm going for. So March 11th, we got pretty close on the calories here. Once again, I had some Brookside chocolates here. Had an apple, a banana, protein bar. This is all snacks at the end of the day after I've finished all three of my meals and decided, hey, I've got some leftover calories. This is how I'm going to use them. And you could use them any way you really want. If you've got leftover calories and you're feeling full. Again, I wouldn't recommend if you're not feeling full, it's probably a good idea to do what I did the one day, have something that's going to fill you up a little more. And I still did. I did a combo, right? I had two things that are a little more filling, a banana and an apple, and then I still had some more calories. So with those, I had this protein bar and some Brookside chocolates. Those aren't as filling, especially these, and these are the most calories, as you'll notice. But eating all this together, it was pretty filling, and so I was content and still got to eat some things I liked, and it was great. And so that's for me what is going to work and get me results and help me have a healthy relationship with food along the way. Now, March 12th, and this is where we're getting up to today. Today is March 13th. March 12th, I ended the day. I had 247 calories left, and I decided, knowing that today, this evening, we're going to be eating Chinese food, I decided last night I'm going to save those calories. And this was intentional. I knew, okay, the next day we're going to be eating Chinese food, so I'm going to save these 247 calories and carry them over to the next day. And now I want to show you, this is something that goes along with point 2 of being prepared that we're going to talk about. It's not the exact example I want to give you, but it is another form of being prepared ahead of time that's going to help you to hit your calories. Today, March 13th, it's still the morning while I'm recording this, but you'll notice that I've got everything entered in for the day already. So what I did is I had my breakfast, entered that in, saw what it came out to. I went ahead and entered dinner ahead of time, our Chinese that we're going to have tonight. I entered it in, and it wasn't this originally. I think I originally had like 15 pieces of chicken and 1 cup of rice or something like that. And then I decided what I was going to have for lunch ahead of time. Now, part of the prepared that we're going to look at and talk about for point 2 when we get there is this item right here. But I entered in my lunch, deciding, okay, what am I going to have for lunch? I'm going to have a scoop of protein powder. I already know that. I'm going to have this salad. And then, you know what? I'm probably, before I go to the gym, I'm going to want something. So I'm going to have a banana and a protein bar prior to the gym. Once I entered this in and I already had my breakfast, what I came to see is I still had extra calories for my dinner. And again, carrying over the calories from last night as well, keeping that in mind. So I actually increased the amount of chicken I was going to have from 15 pieces to 21. So I get to have a more filling dinner tonight. And if you'll notice, I'm 177 calories over, but taking in the calories from yesterday, I still have a few more left to play with. So I'm going to kind of keep those and decide tonight when I have dinner if I want to have a few more pieces, if I maybe just want to have a snack that evening, or if I'm feeling a little hungry still in the evening, I might have something like a pepper or a banana or an apple or something that's going to fill me up a little bit more. Chances are I'm going to be pretty full after this dinner, so I don't think that'll be an issue. But this is just to show you planning ahead. This was the day before, planning ahead, keeping some leftover calories. I went to bed pretty content. I was slightly hungry, a little more hungry than normal, but not like starving by any means. I still had a good day of eating. I wasn't lacking nutrients by any means. And then today, planning ahead, I already entered in my calories for my lunch and my dinner to see what I can afford to do so that I don't get into a situation where I accidentally way overeat, or worse, potentially, getting to dinner and realizing, oh no, I've got 500 calories and I can eat 3 pieces of chicken. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, that's no fun. So this is just a smart way to plan it ahead so that you can still have the things you like and have a good amount of them, and also not end up going over on your calories. And I'm going to stick to this today. This is what I'm going to have, nothing more, nothing less probably. And I'm going to hit my calories, and I will still see the weight come off. Now let's talk about each of the points, and I'm gonna go through these. I'll just keep this screen up for now as we talk, because we're going to look at first, point number 1, if you remember, is using my foods, my meals, and my recipes, which you'll find up here. And if you're on the mobile, they'll be up here somewhere too. Using these to help make tracking calories a little bit easier on you. I know that this can be a little tedious, adding in all these things. But if you've done it, if you've tried it at all, one thing you'll notice is that every time you enter something, it does save it in your recent searches. So if there's a food or foods that you eat regularly, they will come up in your recent searches when you go to search for a food, which is very nice because it makes it simple. You can quickly add it in there if it's something you have on a daily or, regular basis. But something you can do that is really helpful is use my foods, my meals, and my recipes to make this process much easier on yourself. The hardest thing to track, I find personally, is recipes, things that are not just individual items. It's very easy to track an apple or eggs or milk or something like that. But what about when you have something like an omelet or nachos or a cheeseburger, things with multiple items on them? And if they're not already in MyFitnessPal for you to search, if it's a homemade item, it can be difficult to know how to track that, right? So what you can do, you've got a couple options here, but what you can do is you can add a recipe. So what you can do is import each ingredient into the recipe and then choose how many servings it is. So once you've created a recipe, all you have to do is go into recipes and you can just immediately log it, and boom, it will go right into your diary. So that is a super simple way, if you have meals that you eat regularly, to add them in here one time, and then you don't have to ever track them again. Because a lot of people think, oh, tracking's no fun, tracking's hard, you got to measure everything. If you're smart, you only have to measure it one time, and then you should be able to just find it pretty easily going forward. Another thing you can do is add my foods. Now, foods are like these individual items. So a couple things. One is if there's one you use a lot, you can also add it to my foods, and then it'll just show up right there, and you can add it in. Another thing about my foods is there might be foods that you can't find in MyFitnessPal, and you just want to add them yourself. Maybe you buy something at the grocery store, it's got the label of what's included in the ingredients and the calories, but when you go to search it at MyFitnessPal, you can't find the exact brand. Well, you can add it yourself in My Foods, and then it will exist in there, and now you can use it and add it in. Because this is another area where people have issues is, well, I couldn't find this thing, or I couldn't find that. For me personally, I usually just find something similar, and I'll just use that. But this is another option. If you know what the ingredients that are in it, you can add a food yourself. Lastly, we have my meals. Now, for my meals, it's going to be like an entire meal, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. One of the meals, you can create the entire meal. This one confused me for a little while because I was like not understanding that it's breakfast, like every item from the day, from the meal that you ate for breakfast. So you could duplicate that whole breakfast and name it something. And then you can just simply quick add that entire meal for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever it is, and it will do the entire meal. So if you eat something on a regular basis, an entire meal, not just an individual food item, but you regularly eat the same lunch or you regularly eat the same dinner, you can add it as a meal and then you can just quickly add it in. One other thing that you can do besides those three that I highly recommend utilizing is you can copy entire days. So you can actually, if I skip ahead here to the next day, when I go to add a food, you've got quick tools here. You can quick add from a date. So I can actually copy a date and it will copy the entire meal from that particular one that I'm adding. So this is another powerful way to speed up the process and save yourself some time. Make it as simple as possible. Tracking calories really doesn't have to be that difficult if you're smart about it and utilize some of these tools to help you make it much easier and much quicker. And so, for me, I spend a couple minutes now tracking my calories. It doesn't take me long each day to do that because I've got foods, meals, recipes. I know how to copy the days. And furthermore, anything else that's new that's being added in, it should be easy to search and find in the search area. And again, if you can't find the exact thing, don't stress about it. Just pick something close. So this is going to help you drastically speed up the process and make it much easier on yourself to where you're not constantly having to measure everything and weigh everything. The next step, though, is to be prepared. And I talked a little bit about what that looks like with, you can enter in things ahead of time like I did here today. That is a way of being prepared. But another way, and this is more so what I'm referring to, is we prepare ahead of time salads for our week, knowing that this is what I'm going to eat for lunch. If you can prepare and know at least one meal is covered for your week, it makes it a lot easier. And I'm going to show you why. So we, ahead of time, we get out containers and we meal prep, and we don't meal prep our entire day for the entire week. That would be a lot, and it would probably also just not be very enjoyable. So we find one thing that we enjoy, which is these salads that we make, and we just prepare 5 of them a piece for the week so that they're ready to go, easy to pull out of the fridge and add in. And it's already in here in our recipes, so we can just log it really easily as well. Why this is helpful in figuring out your calories each day is because I already know what my lunch is going to look like ahead of time. I know the amount of calories that are going to be in my lunch. I'm always having my salad. I'm always having my whey protein. What that can do is now I can decide what I'm having for breakfast. If I know breakfast and lunch, that helps me decide the rest of the day pretty easily because I can see what calories I have left. So I can know either I've got this many calories left. Hey, if I've got a lot, maybe I eat a little extra at lunch. Okay, I'm going to add in the banana and the protein bar. If I don't have a lot, maybe I'm saving them up for dinner. If I know what my dinner is going to be, I can add that in ahead of time too, for sure. But the point is, if I'm prepared and know, okay, I've got something ready that's a healthy option, a healthy item that I've made ahead of time, I know I'm having this. It's going to help me get some of those nutrients in that could otherwise, be overlooked. And we still enjoy them. It's not like we don't like the salad. We make a salad that we enjoy. It really helps because I'm narrowing down. I'm cutting out essentially one part of the day and figuring out my calories. The other part I'm eating at the beginning of the day. And so I would quickly know what I've got left for the rest of the day. And that's just super helpful in preparing for what you're going to eat for dinner, making sure you don't overeat. Also, it can help you prepare for storing up calories if you're going to have something like we're having tonight, having Chinese food. It really helps me in planning ahead to make sure I hit my calories for that day. So those are just some ways that you can be prepared ahead of time, and it can really help ensure that you're hitting the right calories and that it's not too stressful either, which does lead us into the next point of not overstressing, hitting everything perfectly. Now, yes, you do want to be pretty close on your calories. We don't want to be way off. Obviously, again, it's averages. So if you're way off one day, don't panic. You can still make it up. Protein, we want to hit pretty close. I don't want to be way low on protein consistently. I want to be hitting my protein. Why? Because protein is going to help you feel more full. Let's just say I hit the same calories today, but my protein was half of this. I'm going to be significantly more hungry. And so you're going to feel more full. It is going to help boost metabolism, and it's going to help you gain muscle if you're weight training. It's also going to help you keep muscle if you're losing fat. And so these are the two things that I want you to focus on the most. They do give you micronutrient breakdown. You can see all that as well. We won't go into all the micronutrients at this point, but for now, starting out, when you're just starting to try to lose weight, you're trying to take steps in the right direction, one step at a time. Don't obsess over, oh no, my sodium's a little high. You probably saw, you noticed, my sodium's probably high almost every day on these. My sugar is probably a little bit high on most of the days. Is that a big deal? How much does it matter? Well, from a health standpoint, obviously, the closer you can get to being, not over on these, the better, right? For sure. Just like getting in the micronutrients that you need each day. It's going to be better if you're getting closer rather than not. But the point is small progress, taking one step at a time, and keeping in mind that what you are doing right now by focusing on this, getting some activity in your life, you are significantly improving your health. And I want you to remember that and keep that in mind, that just because this isn't perfect or this isn't perfect, or maybe you're lacking, in a certain micronutrient, if you aren't feeling something is off, if you are feeling healthier, you are losing weight, and you're getting active, that's what's most important right now. We could start trying to narrow in on these types of things, and I can tell you right now, I know exactly in this lineup what thing is causing the biggest sodium leap for me, and maybe I cut it out at some point. But right now, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about hitting my calorie goal and hitting my protein goal. And you got to also just cut out the noise, because there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of different opinions on different things. And most people, what they will do is they're going to look at this and they're going to go, whoa, that guy's a personal trainer and he's hitting that high of sodium. And wow, each day he went that much over on his sodium. Guess what? Those people who are critiquing you, they probably have no clue what they're hitting. And so, and I obviously we don't know that. That might not be the case. But my point is, there's a lot of people who are super critical. It's very easy to look at someone else and critique little things about what they're doing and find the negative in what they're doing instead of the positive. And yet we go the easiest on ourselves, right? Those same people might be doing the very thing that they're critiquing you about. You cut out sugary drinks and start drinking things that have 0 calories, and then people are, oh, well, they have artificial sweeteners in it. That's really bad for you. Okay, well, what are you doing for your health? Does this person that's critiquing you, are they really doing things for themselves? Or maybe vice versa. Maybe you cut out artificial sweeteners and you have something else, and then they'll find something wrong with that thing, and they'll find something wrong with it. People will always find something wrong with what you're doing. And so my encouragement to you is, if you are making steps in the right direction, if you're focusing on losing some weight and you are taking the right steps one step at a time, don't worry about all the criticism out there. You can constantly improve. We can all do a little bit better. And in time, maybe you do worry a little more about some of these other things if you get this stuff right first. And if you are getting the results, creating a sustainable lifestyle for yourself first. The biggest things that you should be focusing on right now, keep it simple. Get the calories you need each day based on the amount you burn. Get more activity in your life. The more activity you can add in, the better. Do it in a sustainable way. Do things you enjoy. Get enough sleep and focus on those things. Get enough water. Hydrate. Those are the simple things you need to focus on right now. Once you have those nailed down, once you have reached your goal weight and you've done it in a maintainable way that you can sustain, you've lost the weight, you've changed your way of eating, your way of thinking about food, you have gotten more activity in your life, you're feeling much better. Now we can start doing these other little tweaks. Now we can focus on the micro things that, hey, would this help a little? Would that help a little? It's interesting because people are so critical and so worried about if other people have like the perfect diet, if they're eating all the right things, if they're not lacking in any nutrient, if they're not adding any kind of bad thing into their diet. And yet nobody's doing that. Nobody's perfectly doing it. And the people who are really obsessive over that and they're really worried about every little thing, they're usually pretty stressed out. And a lot of times those people have either a bad relationship with food or poor self-image. The best thing you can do if you know I'm overweight, I'm out of shape, I'm unhealthy right now, is to just take steps in the right direction. That is the best thing you can do, to take small steps, ones that you can maintain, things that you can do that are better than they were before. It's not a race, it's not a rush. Start taking those steps in a sustainable, maintainable way, and just continue to do that. Change your lifestyle into one that you can do long term, and keep progressing, get a little better, focus a little bit on other things as you get to that point. And if you can do it again in a healthy way that's not obsessive and stressful and all these other things. And I think there's a balance, and people kind of swing one way or the other. There's the extreme of over obsessing over every little detail and every little thing and being perfect and optimal in every way. And where people swing too far the other way is they look at that and they go, I don't want that. I don't want to worry about all that. I don't want to stress about all that. I don't want to stress about food. I don't want to worry about any of that stuff. And then they pay no attention and they just end up being completely unhealthy because I just don't want to care about it. I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to stress. I want to eat what I want to eat. I want to do what I want to do. And that might sound great too. That might sound, to me, that's more appealing almost than the other side of obsession and being, hyper healthy. But guess what? Neither one is healthy. This one's not mentally healthy. This one's not really long-term sustainable. And there's a lot of issues that come with that. But on the flip side, there are big implications and health implications on this side as well. Heart disease is the number one killer. And unfortunately, it will affect your quality of life. It will affect the ability to do things that you enjoy doing and love doing, and doing things with loved ones and being around for your loved ones. And so we got to find a balance. And I want to propose to you that the balance is making sure you're getting the right amount of food and making sure that you're getting some activity in your life. Focus on those two big things, and you will thank yourself for it. And you also will have a relationship that's healthy where you don't get to that extreme, because I think a lot of people are worried about that. And so then they do nothing. There is a middle ground. I hope that I'm showing you that and that you are seeing that even just through some of these things that I'm showing you here. It does work. It will get you the results. And ultimately you can do it in a way that you can still enjoy and doesn't have to be unhealthy. And I don't just mean physically unhealthy, but also mentally. We want it to be healthy in both ways. So I hope that this is helping you. I hope that through the examples I've shown you and just taking you along through my journey, I'm going to continue to do so. I hope that it will help you to see how you can do this in an achievable way, in a maintainable way, and one that can be healthy, and that there is a way to have balance in this. And again, it can look a little bit different for you too. It doesn't have to be exactly the way I'm doing it, but finding a way that works with you, works for your life, and ultimately is going to be the healthiest option for you. Healthy isn't even a one size fits all. And so just remember, I want to remind you and encourage you, if you're taking steps in the right direction, that's what's most important. You don't need to be perfect. Start getting small results, and we will continue this together. Until the next one.